A weird obsession of mine is watching videos of abandoned properties. There was a YouTube video on Peter Grant's mansion in Ontario, Canada by Bright Sun Films, and this is what sent me down this rabbit hole. It is an incredible story of a very wealthy timber guy, but wasn't able to complete his dream home because, 2008 financial crisis hit. And there are stories like this all over the country. Recently, I watched a video on the abandoned power plant in South Boston, a power plant that I have driven by probably thousands of times as I used to live just a couple football fields away. This stuff really just fascinates me. So when an article in my feed pops up to Canada's most incredible abandoned houses, I clicked on it. The Crypto King Mansion really caught my eye. It was a property that has recently been abandoned, broken windows and leaking roofs are ruining this magnificent house. But here's what caught my eye, and something that I never began to realize was the value of property in Ontario, Canada. This house, even being what is most likely a teardown, is worth $3.1 million. Seeing a $3.1 million teardown and loving real estate as much as I do, while having a constant need to learn more, made me want to learn just a little bit more about the Ontario real estate market. How similar is their market to ours? How are housing prices going down in Ontario, Canada? Did they see a COVID run-up in prices like we did? All questions that I needed to know. I found a great blog at Noranda Real Estate Investments. As of August, the year-over-year home price appreciation in Ontario is 2.2% with an average sales price of nearly $838,000. Compare this to the average sale price in Toronto that's slightly below the $1.1 million mark, which represented a 5% decline in year-over-year pricing. What's interesting is that the article quotes the recent pricing trend indicated stabilization, suggesting that the market is finding its footing after a period of volatility. It seemed that prices surged like they did here in the United States during COVID, but then slowed down as interest rates increased and sales levels decreased. That story sounds familiar. And it seems that the Ontario market is extremely similar as government initiatives are aimed at increasing the housing supply due to a supply shortage and rising demand in the area. So I guess the real estate world for our friends up north isn't that different than what we have down here. Now, as I went further down the rabbit hole, I found that home prices in Ontario, Canada have doubled in the last 10 years. Doubled. Many people blame this on Canada's population growth, now exceeding 41 million in 2024, which surprised me as I had no idea how small their population was relative to how big the country is. What is interesting is that where Ontario's housing prices more than double, 101.7% to be exact, in the last 10 years, the population has only grown by 18.4% in that time period. So here's what's crazy to me. It's that our northern friends are going through a lot of the same things that we are and have a lot of the same complaints as we do here in Massachusetts. And for that matter, the entirety of the country. Housing has gotten unaffordable, whether you're renting or buying, and builders aren't building enough. There is demand, but builders aren't convinced that they can necessarily build for a profit, so new build starts are falling. So this isn't just a United States problem. It's a broader problem. To me, it doesn't seem like the answer to the issues of affordability has been identified. If anything, this election cycle has actually proven that politicians don't know their ass from their elbow as they want to give $25,000 to home buyers. This just increases demand, which will increase prices. It's focusing on the wrong side of the supply and demand curve. I'm not going to pretend like I know and have all the answers, but what I do know is that the answer lies in affecting the supply side of the curve. I kind of get it from a politician's perspective because these don't directly affect and involve the voting public, and therefore the pill, it becomes something that the voting public won't necessarily like. But give it time and I think they could love the results. So here are my thoughts on how to fix the affordability focus by focusing on the supply side of the curve. Now, red tape. Severely cut it for construction of properties that are half of the average sales price in the area. So let's say a town's average price is $800,000. Then this red tape is cut for a housing development with sales prices of $400,000 and under. Maybe even put a bedroom limit on there so that way builders aren't just stamping out a ton of one-bedroom units. How about a government program that provides very attractive financing, of course through banks, for builders that are building these half-price developments? And here's the big one that I know would piss off a lot of the voting public, but would make a huge difference: tax incentives and tax breaks for those developers that build these affordable complexes. And if you really want to get serious, then we need to very slowly phase out and wind down Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Leave the VA. Make that the only program where you can buy a house for little to nothing down, as our men and women who served in our armed forces, they kind of deserve that perk. Now, the phasing out of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, it would need to be done very, very slowly, as an immediate pullout would create a complete collapse of the real estate market and thereby pricing, which would create a worldwide depression the likes that nobody has ever seen. If you're serious about fixing the problem, which so many people don't seem to be, then you need to not worry so much about what someone else might get. So a couple of people get rich or richer, okay, fine, but it drastically increases the housing supply of affordable houses. So if that's the case, my position is, who cares? It's Jet Time. I'm a recovering investment banker, turned real estate agent and investor that sold more than 1,000 houses. If you have any questions in regards to real estate or are thinking about buying or selling a house, then reach out, as it would be a true pleasure to help you. Until next time.